The ultimate transformation, Emma's 50-minute journey. They say revenge is a dish best served cold, but what happens when that dish becomes the sweetest victory you've ever tasted? This is Emma's story, a tale of betrayal, transformation, and the ultimate comeback that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about love, family, and second chances. Picture this: Emma Rodriguez, 24 years old, sitting in her favorite coffee shop on what should have been the happiest day of her life. She's been dating Marcus for 3 years, and today was supposed to be the day he finally proposed. Her hands trembling around her vanilla latte, she checks her phone for the 100th time. "Where are you?" she texts. No response. But here's what makes this moment even more heartbreaking: Emma had actually helped Marcus pick out the ring. 2 weeks earlier, he had asked her to come shopping with him, claiming he needed to buy a surprise gift for his mother. She had stood right there in Tiffany & Company, watching him examine diamond rings, her heart racing with anticipation, never suspecting the cruel irony of the moment. "This one," Marcus had said, pointing to a stunning solitaire. "Do you think she'll like it?" Emma had squeezed his arm, tears of joy threatening to spill. "She'll love it. Any woman would." The sales associate had smiled knowingly, probably assuming Emma was the future bride. If only she had known the devastating twist this story would take. Little did she know, her entire world was about to shatter in the most unimaginable way possible. But here's where the story gets twisted, and trust me, you won't see this coming. The betrayal wasn't just from Marcus. Oh no, it was so much worse than that. Are you ready for this? Because what happened next will make your blood boil and your heart race at the same time. Emma's phone finally buzzes. A text from her younger sister, Sophia. "Emma, we need to talk. Come to my apartment right now. It's urgent." But there's something else, a follow-up message that makes Emma's stomach drop, and "Emma, bring tissues. You're going to need them." The urgency in those words sends ice through Emma's veins, but it's that second message that fills her with dread. Sophia never talks like that. She's usually direct, sometimes blunt, but never cryptically ominous. Emma abandons her coffee and rushes across town, her mind racing with possibilities. Is Sophia hurt? Is there a family emergency? Has something happened to their parents? During the 20-minute drive, Emma's phone keeps buzzing with notifications. Instagram likes, Facebook comments, text messages from friends. She ignores them all, but the constant buzzing creates an undercurrent of anxiety. Later, she'll realize these were all congratulatory messages from people who had seen Marcus's Instagram post, a post that would make her blood run cold. The 20-minute drive feels like an eternity, made worse by every red light, every slow driver, every obstacle that keeps her from reaching her sister. She's never been one for premonitions, but something feels terribly wrong. She pounds on Sophia's door, and when it opens, Emma's world collapses. There stands Marcus, shirtless, with Sophia wrapped in nothing but a silk robe, the very robe Emma had given her for Christmas just 2 months ago. The color drains from Emma's face as the pieces fall into place like a horrific puzzle. "Emma, I can explain," Marcus stammers, but his words are like daggers to her heart. The worst part? He's still wearing the watch Emma gave him for their 2-year anniversary, the one engraved with "Forever Yours, E." Explain what exactly? Emma's voice cracks, but there's steel underneath the pain. Explain how my boyfriend of 3 years is half naked in my sister's apartment. Explain how you've been lying to me while planning to propose. Her hands shake as she pulls the engagement ring she found in his jacket pocket from her purse. Or maybe explain how you were going to propose to me while sleeping with my own sister. But here's the detail that makes this betrayal even more devastating. Emma notices her favorite mug in Marcus's hand, the one with "World's Best Sister" that she had left at Sophia's apartment months ago. He's drinking coffee from it like he belongs there, like this is routine. Sophia steps forward, and here's where it gets absolutely devastating. But before she speaks, Emma notices something that makes her heart stop. On the coffee table behind Sophia are planning magazines. Wedding planning magazines. Emma's vision starts to blur as she realizes these two haven't just been having an affair, they've been planning a future. "Emma, please understand," Sophia says, her voice steady in a way that suggests she's rehearsed this moment. "Marcus and I, we fell in love. Real love. Not the kind of love where someone settles because they feel sorry for someone." The words hit Emma like physical blows, but Sophia isn't finished. "We've been trying to figure out how to tell you for months. We never meant for it to happen this way." "Months?" Emma's voice is barely a whisper. "How many months?" Marcus and Sophia exchange a look, and that look tells Emma everything she needs to know. This isn't new. This isn't a recent mistake or a moment of weakness. This has been going on for a long time. "Emma, you're a wonderful person," Marcus finally finds his voice, and what he says next will haunt Emma for months. "But let's be honest. You've gained so much weight since we started dating." Sophia takes care of herself. "She's everything I need in a partner, physically and emotionally. I can't keep pretending anymore." The silence that follows is deafening, but it's broken by a sound that makes both Marcus and Sophia freeze: Emma laughing. Not a bitter laugh, not a hysterical laugh, but a laugh of sudden, crystal clear understanding. "Oh my God," Emma says, still laughing. "I just realized something. Marcus, do you remember what you told me on our first date? You said you'd dated a lot of shallow women, women who only cared about appearances, and that you were so grateful to finally find someone with substance." She looks at him with something approaching pity. "And now you're literally breaking up with me because of how I look. Do you not see the irony?" Marcus's face flushes red, but Emma isn't done. She turns to Sophia. "And you, sister dear. Do you remember when Marcus started dating me? You pulled me aside and warned me about him. You said, and I quote, 'Be careful, Emma. He's the type of guy who trades women in like used cars the moment something shinier comes along.' Funny how right you were." The accuracy of Emma's memory seems to shake both of them, but she continues, her voice gaining strength. "You know what, Marcus? You're absolutely right. I have been settling. But not in the way you think." She looks directly at Sophia. "And you, sister dear, you can have him. But remember this moment, because someday, when you're looking in the mirror wondering if you're enough for him, you'll remember that he left someone who loved him unconditionally for someone who looked better in a dress." She turns to leave, but Marcus grabs her arm, and this is where Emma's transformation truly begins. Instead of pulling away or getting emotional, she looks down at his hand on her arm, then back up at his face with an expression so cold it makes him immediately let go. "Marcus," she says quietly, but her voice carries absolute authority. "Don't ever touch me again. We're done. Not just as a couple, we're done as people who know each other. You're going to regret this day for the rest of your life, but here's the thing you don't understand yet, I'm not going to care." But Marcus isn't giving up that easily. "Emma, wait. We can still be friends. This doesn't have to ruin everything. We have so much history together." The audacity of this statement makes Emma laugh again, that same cold sound that makes them both step back. "Friends? You want to be friends after you just told me I'm too fat to love? After you destroyed my family?" Emma's voice drops to barely above a whisper, but somehow that makes it more terrifying. "Here's what's going to happen instead, you're going to watch me become everything you never deserved. And when I do, when I'm so successful and happy that people forget you ever existed in my story, you're going to realize that losing me was the biggest mistake of your pathetic life." What happened next would become the stuff of legend, but first, Emma had to survive the darkest period of her life. She drove home in a daze, walked into her empty apartment, and for the first time in years, really looked at herself in the mirror. At 5'6" and 180 pounds, she wasn't obese, but she had gained weight during their relationship. Comfort eating during stressful times, skipping workouts to spend time with Marcus, choosing restaurants over gym dates. But as she stared at her reflection, Emma had a moment of startling clarity. She called her best friend, Jessica, who answered on the first ring. Emma. Oh my God, I've been trying to call you. Did you see Marcus's Instagram post? He posted a picture with Sophia and, I know, Emma interrupted. I just came from her apartment. The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. Then, Emma, honey, where are you? I'm coming over right now. No, Emma said, her voice stronger than she expected. Jess, I need you to do something for me instead. I need you to help me disappear. What do you mean, disappear? I mean I'm going to transform myself so completely that when I come back, no one will recognize me. Not my face, not my body, not my life. Nothing. Jessica was quiet for a moment. Emma, are you sure? This sounds like you're making a huge decision while you're emotional. I've never been less emotional in my life, Emma said, and she meant it. For the first time in 3 years, I'm thinking clearly. Jess, I've been living Marcus's life, not mine. I took a job I hate because it impressed him. I moved to this apartment because he liked the neighborhood. I've been making myself smaller in every way to fit into his vision of who I should be. So what are you going to do? Emma looked around her apartment, at the furniture Marcus had chosen, the books he had recommended, the clothes in her closet that reflected his preferences rather than her own style. I'm going to burn it all down and build something beautiful from the ashes. The next morning, Emma did something that shocked everyone who knew her. She quit her stable but unfulfilling job as an administrative assistant. But here's what made it even more dramatic, she didn't just quit. She walked into her boss's office and delivered a resignation letter that was also a scathing critique of the company's outdated practices and toxic work environment. Emma, her boss, Mr. Peterson, sputtered as he read her letter. You can't be serious. You're throwing away a secure future over what, a bad breakup? Mr. Peterson, Emma replied calmly, I'm not throwing away my future. I'm finally claiming it. And with that, she walked out, ignoring his calls for her to come back and be reasonable. She emptied her savings account, every penny she had saved over 3 years of living conservatively and denying herself experiences because Marcus preferred practical spending. And she made a phone call that would set her on a path toward the most incredible transformation you've ever heard. Hello, is this Jason Martinez from Elite Fitness Training? Emma's voice was still hoarse from crying, but her determination was crystal clear. I saw your before and after photos online, and I need your help. Not to get my boyfriend back, not to compete with my sister, but to become the person I was always meant to be. Jason, a former military trainer who specialized in extreme transformations, was intrigued by something in her voice. Most of his clients called him in desperation, begging, pleading for help. Emma sounded different, determined, focused, almost businesslike in her approach to transformation. What's your timeline? He asked. I have people who want to change for weddings, reunions, special events. What's driving you? Emma's answer sent chills down his spine. I want to become unrecognizable. I want to walk into a room and have people forget how to breathe. I want to become so successful, so confident, so absolutely stunning that the people who broke me will question every decision they ever made. How long will that take? There was a pause before Jason responded. Ma'am, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never had someone call me with that level of clarity about what they want. Most people want to lose weight for a dress or a vacation. You're talking about a complete life transformation. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That kind of transformation isn't just physical, Emma. It's mental, emotional, spiritual. If you're serious about this, it's going to be the hardest thing you've ever done. But if you can commit to 18 months of complete dedication, I can help you become someone you never imagined you could be. But I need to know, Are you running toward something, or away from something? Emma considered this question carefully. Both, she said finally. I'm running away from who I was when I let other people define my worth. And I'm running toward who I've always been underneath all the compromise and self-doubt. Then let's do this. And so began Emma's journey into what she would later call her revenge body era, but it was so much more than that. This was about reclaiming her power, her identity, and her future. The first month was brutal. Jason had her working out 6 days a week, following a strict nutrition plan, and most importantly, working with a therapist to address the emotional eating and self-worth issues that had held her back for years. But the real breakthrough came during week 3 of training. Emma was struggling through a particularly difficult workout, and Jason could see she was about to quit. Emma, stop, he said. What are you thinking about right now? I'm thinking about how much this hurts, she gasped. Wrong answer. What are you really thinking about? Emma paused, sweat dripping down her face. I'm thinking about Marcus and Sophia, probably laughing about how I'll never stick to this, how I'll give up like I always do. And how does that make you feel? Angry. So angry I could scream. Then scream, Jason said simply. Use it. Every rep you do is proof they were wrong about you. Every pound you lose is a step away from the woman who let them define her worth. Every day you show up here is you choosing yourself over their opinion of you. Something clicked in that moment. Emma stopped working out for revenge and started working out for respect, self-respect. The difference was transformational. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. 3 months into her transformation, when Emma had already lost 30 pounds and gained incredible muscle definition, she got a call that would change everything. She was at the gym, finishing her evening workout, when her phone buzzed. Emma Rodriguez, the voice on the phone was professional, confident. This is Patricia Wells from Apex Modeling Agency. I saw your progress photos on Instagram, and I'd like to meet with you. Emma almost hung up, thinking it was a scam. I'm sorry, what? Modeling agency? I think you have the wrong number. But Patricia persisted, and what she said next made Emma's heart race. No mistake. You have something special, Emma. That bone structure, those eyes, and the way you carry yourself in your recent photos. There's a story there, a strength that translates through the camera. But more than that, you have something most models spend years trying to develop, authenticity. Would you be interested in meeting? This is where most people would have said yes immediately, but Emma had learned to be cautious. I'm not a model. I'm just someone who's trying to get healthy. Patricia's laugh was warm but knowing. Honey, some of the most successful models in the world started exactly where you are. The difference is, you have something that can't be taught, authenticity. You've been through something that shows in your eyes, and that's what makes great models. Plus, the industry is finally waking up to the fact that women want to see real transformation stories, not just genetic lottery winners. The meeting took place on a Tuesday afternoon in downtown Los Angeles. Emma walked into the sleek offices of Apex Modeling Agency wearing a simple black dress that actually fit her new body properly for the first time in years. But it wasn't just the dress that was different, it was how she carried herself. Gone was the apologetic posture, the way she used to take up as little space as possible. This Emma walked with purpose. Patricia took one look at her and smiled. There it is. That's what I saw in the photos. You don't just look different, Emma. You carry yourself differently. Tell me your story. And Emma did. She told Patricia everything. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the decision to transform not for revenge but for self-respect. Patricia listened without interrupting, and when Emma finished, she leaned back in her chair. I've been in this business for 20 years, and I can tell you that the models who book the biggest campaigns aren't always the most conventionally beautiful. They're the ones with stories, with depth, with something to prove. You, my dear, have all three. But I need to ask you something important. Are you ready for your life to change completely? Because if we do this right, there's no going back to who you were. Emma didn't hesitate. I never want to go back. What happened next was like something out of a movie. Patricia introduced Emma to photographers, stylists, and casting directors. But the first shoot was almost a disaster. Emma had never modeled before, and she was stiff, self-conscious, trying too hard to look like what she thought a model should look like. The photographer, Miguel Santos, could see she was struggling. Emma, stop trying to be a model. Just be you. The woman who transformed her life. The woman who chose herself over settling for less. Show me that woman. And something magical happened. Emma relaxed, and suddenly she wasn't posing, she was communicating. Every photo told the story of her journey, her strength, her refusal to be diminished by other people's limitations. This is it. This is the shot. Emma, you're a natural. Miguel kept exclaiming behind the camera. But the real magic happened when the photos were published. Emma's transformation story, accompanied by stunning professional photos, went viral. Not because she looked like a typical model, but because she looked like herself, only elevated, confident, powerful. The comments poured in from women all over the world who saw themselves in Emma's journey. You give me hope that I can change my life too. Thank you for showing us that transformation is about more than weight loss. You look like you could conquer the world. And the most powerful comment of all, you look like someone who knows her worth. Meanwhile, back in her hometown, Marcus and Sophia were watching Emma's meteoric rise with growing unease. It started with mutual friends showing them Emma's magazine spread. Then came the billboards. Emma's face, radiant and confident, promoting a major fitness brand with the tagline, "Become who you were meant to be." But here's where their relationship started to crack under the pressure of Emma's success. Sophia, who had always been the conventionally prettier sister, found herself comparing her appearance to Emma's new look obsessively. She would spend hours scrolling through Emma's Instagram, analyzing every photo, every angle, every comment. She hired the best trainers and photographers, she told Marcus dismissively one evening as they sat in front of the TV, Emma's commercial playing for the third time that night. Anyone can look good with that kind of help. But her voice betrayed her insecurity, and Marcus was dealing with something more complex. Regret. As he watched Emma's transformation unfold across social media and in magazines, he began to realize that he hadn't just lost a girlfriend. He had lost someone who had the strength to completely reinvent herself, someone with the kind of determination and resilience that he was now finding incredibly attractive. You know, Marcus said quietly one night, I never realized how strong Emma was. Sophia turned to look at him, and there was something dangerous in her eyes. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, look at what she's accomplished. It's impressive. Are you saying you're proud of her? Because if you are, you can leave right now and go be proud of her somewhere else. This was the first real fight they'd had since getting together, and it wouldn't be the last. Emma's success was becoming a constant source of tension between them, a reminder of what Marcus had given up and what Sophia had cost him. The turning point came 8 months after the breakup. Emma was featured on the cover of a major fashion magazine with the headline, From Heartbreak to Supermodel, Emma Rodriguez's Incredible Journey. The interview inside was raw, honest, and inspiring. She talked about the betrayal, the pain, but mostly about the discovery that she had been living her life for other people's approval instead of her own happiness. The best revenge, Emma was quoted as saying, isn't getting back at the people who hurt you. It's becoming so happy, so successful, so fulfilled that you forget why you wanted revenge in the first place. The interview went viral, and Emma's follower count exploded to over 2 million practically overnight. But it was one particular passage that hit Marcus like a physical blow. People ask me if I miss my old life, my old relationship. The truth is, I don't miss being with someone who saw my worth as conditional. I don't miss walking on eggshells, trying to be perfect enough to deserve love. I don't miss being with someone who made me feel like I had to earn affection through my appearance or behavior. Real love doesn't make you smaller. It makes you more yourself. That's when Marcus made the first move. A simple Instagram message: Emma, I saw your interview. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. Would you be open to talking? Emma stared at the message for a long time before showing it to her assistant, Maria, who had become not just an employee but a trusted friend. What do you think? Emma asked. Maria rolled her eyes. I think he's a day late and $1 short. But more importantly, what do you think? Emma considered this. I think I don't need his validation anymore. Deleting it. But Marcus wasn't giving up that easily. The messages continued, becoming more desperate, more pleading. Then came the phone calls to mutual friends, asking for Emma's number. Then came the flowers sent to her new apartment in Los Angeles, with notes apologizing and asking for another chance. Emma, Maria said, bringing her the latest bouquet with an amused expression. Same guy? Emma nodded, throwing the flowers directly into the trash without even reading the card. Some people never learn. But the situation escalated when Emma was invited to her cousin Isabella's wedding back in her hometown. She hadn't been back since the day she left, and she knew that both Marcus and Sophia would be there. Her family had maintained an awkward relationship with Sophia after the incident, but blood was blood, and the family dynamics were complicated. Emma's mother called her the week before the wedding. Sweetheart, I know this is going to be difficult, but I want you to know that everyone is so proud of what you've accomplished. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Mom, Emma said gently, I'm not going to prove anything. I'm going to celebrate Isabella's happiness. That's what family does. But her mother wasn't finished. Emma, there's something else. Sophia, she's been asking about you. She seems different. Smaller somehow. I think she realizes what she lost when she betrayed you. Emma appreciated the support, but she had already decided to attend. Not to prove anything, but because she refused to let Marcus and Sophia's betrayal keep her from celebrating family milestones. The day of the wedding arrived, and Emma's preparation was meticulous but not vindictive. She chose an elegant emerald green dress that complemented her new figure perfectly, styled her hair in a sophisticated updo, and kept her makeup natural but polished. But as she was getting ready, Emma received a text that almost made her reconsider attending. It was from her cousin Isabella. Emma, I need to warn you. Marcus has been telling people he's going to win you back today. He seems to think this wedding is his chance for some grand romantic gesture. I'm so sorry. If you don't want to come, I'll understand. Emma stared at the message, then typed back, Isabella, it's your wedding day. The only person who matters today is you. I'll be there, and I'll handle Marcus if I need to. When Emma walked into the church, the effect was immediate and electric. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. Even the bride's mother, notorious for her critical eye, was heard whispering, "Is that really Emma Rodriguez? She looks absolutely radiant." But Emma barely noticed the stares. She was focused on finding her family, on being present for Isabella's special day. It wasn't until she was seated for the ceremony that she saw them, Marcus and Sophia, sitting 3 rows ahead of her. Marcus kept turning around, trying to catch her eye, but Emma kept her gaze fixed on the altar. The ceremony was beautiful, and Emma found herself genuinely emotional watching her cousin exchange vows. When the groom promised to love Isabella, in sickness and in health, in good times and bad, for better or worse, Emma felt a pang of something, not regret exactly, but recognition. She had never had that kind of love with Marcus, had never felt truly secure in their relationship. But the real moment of truth came during the reception. Emma was chatting with her cousin's friends, sharing stories about life in Los Angeles and her modeling career, when she felt a familiar presence behind her. She turned around to find Marcus, looking nervous and hopeful in equal measure. "Emma," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You look incredible. Could we talk privately?" The conversation around them died as people sensed the drama unfolding. Emma looked at him calmly, taking in his appearance. He looked older, tired, and there was something desperate in his eyes that she recognized from her own darkest days. "Of course, Marcus. We can talk right here." Her voice was pleasant but firm, making it clear that there would be no private conversation, no secret reconciliation attempts. "What did you want to say?" Marcus glanced around nervously at the crowd of people watching them. He had clearly expected privacy for his big moment, and being put on the spot threw him off his game. "Emma, I made a terrible mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. I've been trying to reach you for months because I need you to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did, for what I said, for choosing Sophia over you." His voice was getting more emotional, more desperate. "I love you. I never stopped loving you." Emma listened patiently, her expression neutral. When he paused, waiting for her response, she simply said, "Okay. Is there more?" Her calmness seemed to unnerve him further. "Emma, what Sophia and I had, it wasn't real love. It was. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't what we had. She's not you. She could never be you." He was getting louder now, more frantic. "Please, can we try again? I know I don't deserve it, but I'm asking anyway. I'll do anything to make this right." The silence that followed was deafening. Everyone at the reception was watching, including Sophia, who stood frozen near the bar with a drink in her hand and devastation on her face. Emma looked at Marcus for a long moment, and when she spoke, her voice carried to every corner of the room. "Marcus, I need to tell you something, and I want everyone here to witness it because I never want to have this conversation again." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "A year ago, when you told me I was too fat to love, when you chose my sister because she was prettier, more attractive, more worthy of your affection, you did something terrible to me. You broke my heart, destroyed my self-esteem, and shattered my relationship with my family." Marcus started to interrupt, but Emma held up her hand. "Let me finish. For months, I hated you. I hated both of you. I planned elaborate revenge fantasies where you would see me looking amazing and beg for another chance, and I would have the satisfaction of rejecting you publicly." A murmur went through the crowd, but Emma continued. "But here's what you don't understand, Marcus. Somewhere along the way, between the gym sessions and the photo shoots and the magazine covers, I stopped thinking about you altogether. I didn't transform my body to make you want me back. I transformed my entire life because I finally realized I deserved better than someone who would love me conditionally." Emma's voice grew stronger, more confident. "You're asking me to try again, but try what exactly? A relationship with someone who will leave me the moment I gain 10 pounds or get a wrinkle or don't meet your physical standards anymore? You're asking me to go backward when I've spent the last year moving forward." Marcus looked devastated, but Emma wasn't finished. "The saddest part is that you think this is about looks, about becoming more attractive so you'll want me back. But the real transformation wasn't physical, Marcus. I learned to love myself. I learned what I'm worth. And what I'm worth is someone who will love me on my worst days, not just when I look like a magazine cover." She paused, looking around the room at all the faces watching her. "I forgive you, Marcus. I forgive you, Sophia. Not because you deserve it, but because carrying anger was holding me back from becoming who I was meant to be. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It just means I'm free." With that, Emma turned and walked away, leaving Marcus standing alone in the middle of the dance floor. The crowd slowly began to disperse, people returning to their conversations, but the energy in the room had shifted. Emma had just delivered one of the most powerful rejection speeches anyone had ever witnessed. But the story doesn't end there. Because as Emma was getting ready to leave the reception, Sophia approached her. The two sisters stood facing each other for the first time since that devastating day in Sophia's apartment. Sophia looked smaller somehow, diminished by guilt and regret. "Emma, I don't expect you to forgive me, but I need to say this." Sophia's voice was shaky, uncertain, so different from the confident woman who had stood in that robe defending her betrayal. "I was jealous of you our entire lives. You were smarter, funnier, more creative. You had this inner light that I never had. When Marcus showed interest in me, it felt like I was finally winning at something." Tears were streaming down her face now. "But I wasn't winning. I was destroying the most important relationship in my life for a man who doesn't even really love me. He talks about you constantly, Emma. He compares everything I do to what you would have done. I won him, but I lost everything that mattered." Emma looked at her sister, and for a moment, she saw the little girl who used to climb into her bed during thunderstorms, who used to braid her hair and tell her secrets. But she also saw the woman who had stood in that apartment and twisted the knife of betrayal deeper with every word. "Sophia, I meant what I said about forgiveness. I do forgive you. But we can't go back to how things were. Too much damage has been done. Maybe, someday, we can find a way forward. Just not today." As Emma drove back to Los Angeles that night, she felt a sense of closure she hadn't expected. The confrontation with Marcus hadn't given her the satisfaction she once thought it would. Instead, it had confirmed what she already knew: she had outgrown her old life entirely. The months that followed brought even more success. Emma landed a campaign with a major luxury brand, walked in Fashion Week, and started her own fitness and lifestyle brand called Worthy. Her social media following grew to over 5 million, and she used her platform to promote body positivity, self-worth, and the kind of transformation that starts from the inside out. But perhaps the most significant development was meeting David Chen, a successful entrepreneur who had followed Emma's journey from the beginning. Unlike Marcus, David fell in love with Emma's mind first, her ambition, her resilience, her story. Their relationship developed slowly, built on mutual respect and genuine admiration. "What I love about you," David told her on their first anniversary, "is that you became the person you were always meant to be, not for anyone else, but for yourself. That's incredibly attractive." Emma smiled, thinking about how different this felt from her relationship with Marcus, where she had constantly tried to shrink herself to fit his expectations. With David, she felt free to be exactly who she was, to take up all the space she deserved. The final twist in this incredible story came 2 years after the wedding confrontation. Emma was in New York for a photo shoot when she received an unexpected call from Marcus. This time, however, he wasn't calling to win her back. He was calling to thank her. "Emma, I know this might sound strange, but I wanted to thank you for rejecting me that day. It forced me to take a hard look at myself, at my values, at what kind of person I had become." His voice was different now, more mature, more humble. "I've been in therapy for over a year, working on my issues with superficiality and commitment." Emma was surprised by how genuinely happy this made her feel. "I'm glad you're growing, Marcus. I really am. We all deserve to become better versions of ourselves. I'm dating someone new now," he continued. "Someone I love for all the right reasons, and I treat her the way I should have treated you. I wanted you to know that your rejection was the wake-up call I needed to become the man I always should have been." Their conversation was brief but cordial, and when it ended, Emma felt like a final chapter had been closed on that period of her life. As for Sophia, the sisters maintained minimal contact, exchanging holiday cards and brief pleasantries at family gatherings. The deep bond they once shared was gone, replaced by polite civility. Perhaps someday they would find their way back to each other, but Emma had learned not to force relationships that weren't meant to be. Today, Emma Rodriguez is one of the most successful models in the industry, though she bristles at being categorized solely by her size. "I'm not a plus-size model," she often says in interviews. "I'm a model who happens to wear size 12. My value isn't determined by my dress size any more than it was when I wore a size 18. But the most dramatic moment in Emma's post-transformation life came during a live television interview on a popular morning show. The host, trying to create drama, had secretly invited Marcus to appear as a surprise guest, without Emma's knowledge. When Marcus walked onto the set mid-interview, claiming he had new revelations about their relationship, Emma's reaction was swift and devastating. "Excuse me," Emma said, standing up and removing her microphone. "I didn't consent to this ambush, and I won't be part of your ratings grab." She looked directly at Marcus, who stood frozen in the wings. "And you, after 2 years of therapy, this is how you show your growth? By blindsiding me on national television?" The host scrambled to salvage the segment. "Emma, please, our viewers would love to hear, your viewers would love to hear that a woman's worth isn't determined by whether her ex-boyfriend approves of her transformation," Emma interrupted, her voice calm but steely. "They'd love to hear that real strength isn't about revenge or proving anything to people who didn't deserve you in the first place. It's about becoming so authentically yourself that their opinion becomes irrelevant." She gathered her things and walked off the set, leaving both the host and Marcus speechless. The clip went viral within hours, but not for the reasons the show had hoped. Emma became an even bigger inspiration, not for her physical transformation, but for her refusal to be exploited or diminished by anyone, including the media. Her story has inspired countless women to pursue their own transformations, not for revenge or to win back lost loves, but for the pure joy of becoming who they were always meant to be. Emma's message is simple but powerful: your worth isn't determined by other people's opinions of you. It's determined by your own understanding of what you deserve. The most beautiful part of Emma's story isn't the revenge she got on Marcus and Sophia. It's not even the incredible career success or the loving relationship with David. It's the fact that she transformed her deepest pain into her greatest strength, and in doing so, became an inspiration to millions of women around the world. During a recent keynote speech at a women's empowerment conference, Emma shared her final thoughts on the journey. "People often ask me if I would change anything about what happened. Would I prevent the betrayal if I could go back? And my answer is always no. Because that betrayal, as painful as it was, gave me the greatest gift of my life. It forced me to stop living for other people's approval and start living for my own happiness." She paused, looking out at the audience of thousands of women. The girl who sat crying in that coffee shop thought her worth was tied to whether Marcus wanted to marry her. The woman standing here today knows that her worth was never up for debate. And that, ladies, is the only transformation that truly matters. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes, it's becoming so genuinely happy, so authentically successful, so completely fulfilled that you forget why you wanted revenge in the first place. And that, dear listeners, is exactly what Emma Rodriguez did. She didn't just get her body back. She got her life back. She got her power back. She got herself back. And in the end, that was worth more than any apology Marcus could have offered or any reconciliation Sophia could have hoped for. The girl who once sat crying in a coffee shop, devastated by betrayal and broken by cruel words, became a woman who knows her worth and refuses to settle for anything less than extraordinary love and respect. And if that's not the ultimate transformation story, then I don't know what is. So the next time someone tries to make you feel less than worthy, remember Emma's story. Remember that your value isn't up for debate, your worth isn't determined by other people's limitations, and your future isn't defined by other people's mistakes. Sometimes the people who hurt us the most end up doing us the greatest favor of all. They force us to discover just how strong, resilient, and absolutely amazing we really are. And that, my friends, is how you turn betrayal into triumph, heartbreak into healing, and revenge into the sweetest victory of all, becoming the person you were always meant to be.